You know, when someone comes over, can you hear? You can hear? Stand this way. Someone comes over and you say, is this working? Okay, great. You say, thank you for coming. It's, I think Ruth Berman would tell us something about about empty expressions in language. But I really want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. It means an incredible amount, whether you've come from near or from far. And I want to thank Benzi and Kibbutz Tzora and all the Chaverim here for your warm hospitality. It's been quite a journey. A journey that for many of us began much like Gaby Eisenman's. A friend twisted our arm, took us to a meeting, a seminar, a machaneh. The sands of Nahun, of Lichi's Bay, of Onrust may have long disappeared from our sandals. But the silly songs and the silly skits are deeply etched in our souls. Like the bonfires that Johnny Swerdlow lit on the main Mifkad in 1973 to mark the tragic deaths of Dudi and Neil, which ignited in us a passion and a purpose that has lingered, sometimes faint, sometimes bright and bold, like today. Through our meanderings, our dreams and our ditherings, our failures and our frustrations, our successes and our sorrows. Over 300 unique individual journeys in this room, but also a collective story, a story of the Habonim family that connects us. There are many ways to tell this story. You'll read one, as Dave mentioned, in this incredible booklet that was compiled by Brad Gottschalk, one of the exceptional leaders of the current movement here with us today. This is a collection of reflections by almost every living maskir of Habonim, 60 in all, from Avi Hechter and Meir Jaffe in the 1950s to Mira Rudnick, who's the incoming maskir klali for 2023. It is, as Brad puts it, a tapestry spanning time, encapsulating changes and similarities over 9 decades. But what's the thread that holds this tapestry together? No doubt each of us has our own personal response to this question, and perhaps that's the point. I found one especially poignant response in these words of Karen Tamari. Is Karen here? Karen was Mazkira Klalit in 1992, and she wrote this: "Working together with Beitar and Bnei Akiva taught me there is not one way." Another response was Pam Pelled's in last weekend's Jerusalem Post. Her lament for the coalition government, which, as she put it, showed that you can disagree through discourse, dialogue, and dignified discussions. And another response we saw yesterday on Kaleidoscope in meeting on Har Zion with Daniel Hasson, Sagan Maskir Klali in 1999, whose work in supporting and bridging Jerusalem's diverse communities is nothing short of awesome. You'll hear shortly from our current Maskir Klali, Aaron Kruss, a remarkable leader who with his chevra is rebuilding a movement ravaged by a global pandemic within a less than hospitable community. In a few weeks, Aaron will lead the chevra back to Onrust after a 3-year hiatus at Machaneh Hashiva Habaita. Some of us have been fortunate to get to know these incredible young people over the past couple of days. They've just introduced them. Hopefully each of you will find a few moments today to meet them. They will renew your confidence in the movement's future. This gathering, as Dave mentioned, was conceived 5 years ago at a meeting on Kibbutz Israel after Kaleidoscope 2017. The idea of marking Habonim's 90th with more than a conventional reunion led to a unique journey of its own, a 5-year journey of countless meetings, plans, preparations, postings, websites, newsletters, videos, social media groups, of decisions and revisions which a global pandemic did reverse. Then came Head. At a time of profound disconnection, over 2,500 chevra from around the world gathered, as Dave said, in over 60 sessions. And so to AGOD, Mini Kaleidoscope, and Hug today. So many chevra have invested so much passion and energy in this journey that I know, by mentioning a few, we'll no doubt miss some important contributors, and for this I apologize, and I may repeat some that Dave has recognized. But I want to say on behalf of all of us, a huge thank you again to Benzi and Tzora for your hospitality, to Manhigim Wayne and Errol for your leadership, to Rosh Hag, Hillary, for your devotion to every detail. You really sweated the small stuff. To Madrichim Extraordinaire, Mark Kedem and Felicity Swerdlow, for your creativity and your guidance. To Gizbar, Mark Finke, and organizer Paul Horwitz, for your patience and persistence. To Simi, for your ongoing mentorship and advice. To Bruce, Cecil, Estelle, Hillary Mayer, Howie, Jackie, Johnny Lysov, Johnny Zausma, Mareski, Richard, Shelley, Steve Hellman, Valerie. I'm sure I've missed many. So many, many others who contributed to the success of this project. And last, of course, but certainly not least, to fellow traveler, Dave Bloom, for everything. It's really a joy and a privilege to work with and to learn from you. The Habonim journey has always been about the future rather than the past. So, what's next? A few hours from now, we'll go home, and that's it. I'm sure many of you have got some creative ideas of what we could do together. And as a start, I would suggest 3 pathways. First, we can walk the talk. Hillary and Bruce and the Hug Committee, as Dave mentioned, have curated a very special open space program, which we'll get into shortly. We'll be exploring a rich and diverse range of projects that Habonim Chevra are involved in. We hope that this will lead to collective action. Second, we can support the movement at a moment in time when it most needs the support. It's a precious treasure that has deep meaning for all of us. That's why we're here. In a moment, we'll hear more from Wayne and Aaron about that. And third, we can continue this journey. Over the past few years, I think we've crystallized something special. And we'd like to hear your ideas for what Head or Kaleidoscope or this Habonim community might look like going forward. So Paul Mobach is here. Pam. So Pam's going to have a book out there during the open space somewhere and a table. And if you've got ideas about any of that, just spend 2 minutes, go there, write them in the book, or tell them to Pam, he'll put them in. And maybe some of that will happen. Meanwhile, how should we celebrate this milestone? We know that we can't go home again. But can we recapture some of the magic? We know it's unhealthy to wallow in nostalgia. But should we not permit ourselves just a taste today? We know that self-satisfaction does not become a chaver habonim. After all, aren't we supposed to be perpetually dissatisfied with the status quo? But as we look ahead to the centenary of this amazing movement, it's impossible not to feel awe at what a unique family of builders, our family, has built these past 9 decades. And so, in addition to the usual greetings, Aleh uvneh, Chazak ve'ematz, Aleh v'agshem, let's just say today, Chevrei Habonim, Kol hakavod. Thank you.